G'day everyone, Kate Fantanell or Lady Liberty Australia here. I am sitting here with another one of the presidential candidates at the Libertarian Party National Convention in Washington DC. We've been friends on Facebook for a while. We finally get to chat in person. Nice to meet you, Lars Mapstead.
It's very nice to meet you too.
We just had a quick conversation about how to pronounce his last name because Aussies say Mapstead, but it's actually Mapstead. And you were just saying you've got a history with Australia.
Yeah. So we were forced out of England during the penal colony kind of stuff and sent to Australia. The two brothers way back when, and they were when they got to Australia. One brother said Mapstead. And maybe it was accent, and maybe that's just how they heard it. And then the other brother was Mapstead. But apparently, even one brother, my great-great-grandfather, was too criminal even for Australia, and so he had to be yeeted to America, basically.
More criminal than Ned Kelly.
Took a ship from Australia with 13 children on it,
wow.
And I think 2 of them died on the ship. To Long Beach, California. So it's a pretty rough and tumble time for sure.
Yeah. Now, you are running on a platform of Unrig The System, and I had a quick chat to you yesterday about the 270.
Yep.
Can you please explain to Australians what that means and what's your goal with that platform?
Yeah, so under the Constitution of the United States, in order to win the presidency, we have to get 270 electoral votes, and each state is allocated a certain amount of electoral votes based on its population. And so if no president gets 270 electoral votes under the 12th Amendment of the United States Constitution, it sends it to the House of Representatives under what's called a contingent election. And this has only happened 2 times in the history of the United States. One was 200 years ago with John Quincy Adams, and the other one, I believe, was Andrew Jackson's nomination, winning the presidency. And interestingly, the House of Representatives gets to pick the president, but the Senate gets to pick the vice president. So you could have a Republican president and a Democrat vice president,
wow.
or vice versa, or something like that. Or they could pick none of the above and pick something completely outside the box, which is a path for a libertarian to actually become president, because no libertarian or independent candidate in America currently has a path to win 270 electoral votes because of the rigged system, because of gerrymandering where they draw lines around people to put them in certain groups, and around winner-take-all laws, where once you reach 50% in the state, 100% electoral votes go to that person. So it disenfranchises either the Republicans or the Democrats, depending on who controls the state. And that's the case for 70% of Americans. Their vote literally doesn't matter in the presidential election. Only swing states matter. And if you don't live in a swing state, you might as well not even bother to show up.
And do you live in a swing state?
No, I do not. And so all my life, my vote has gone Democrat. And all my life I've been voting for Congress, and I've never had a congressperson win that I voted for, so I've never felt like my government has represented me.
Yes. Now, yesterday we had the presidential debates. It was just fascinating, such quality candidates. Honestly, I've been so impressed while I've been here. And one thing that you got a little bit emotional about was the wars, and how you said you've got kids and you're sick of seeing people dying, children dying on the television. What's your stance on war? Because Australians follow whatever America does. So how can we stop these endless wars?
Yeah, so like I said on the debate stage there, I'm always for less death. I don't want to see any people dying. The governments are the cause of these problems. They're the cause of these wars. People are not warring with each other. It's governments warring with each other. And so I think that's a big piece of libertarianism, is that we want to reduce government. The less government we have, probably the less wars we get into. And so essentially America's broke. We're $34 trillion in debt. And we just continue to borrow. And because we're the world's reserve currency, we export our inflation to every other country. So Australia is basically hurting, and your people are suffering, and losing their standard of living because America just continues to print money to basically buy bombs to drop on kids in faraway lands. I certainly don't want my taxpayer dollars, but it's not even taxpayer dollars at this point. It's our children and our children's children's taxpayer dollars that haven't even been born yet that are paying for today's wars, and will be paying for far into the future because debt has interest. And now currently America is paying $1 trillion a year in debt interest on its debt, which is more than the entire military budget of the United States.
It's just insanity. We're approaching $1 trillion debt in Australia, which for us is huge, and the people are suffering very similarly to here. Now, this convention's been very interesting for a few reasons. We had RFK Junior come and speak, which I believe he's been nominated as part of the race.
Yep.
How is your feelings about that?
It's really interesting. Kennedy is not a libertarian.
No.
And it is going to shake up the vote that happens today. We'll see how it goes. My belief is that he has no more than about 10 to 15% of the room, and that he's going to lose, and that this might be the end of his campaign. This is a real huge gamble for him to kind of come in here and seek the nomination, because if he doesn't win, libertarians reject Kennedy. That won't be a good headline.
Yes. And last night we had Donald Trump speak. What did you think of that?
I thought it was when the libertarians were booing loudly, I was very proud of that moment. I was afraid that it was going to be rah Trump the whole time, and that's what the media was going to see. And all of the headlines this morning that I saw were Trump gets booed at Libertarian rally. And I was like, thank goodness, right? All the speeches that I've done this weekend on the stage here at the Libertarian Party have been geared toward the regular American people, because this is being telecast across America. And I want people to know that we are not aligned with the Republican Party at all. We are not aligned. We reject soundly Donald Trump. We reject Joe Biden soundly, and we reject Kennedy as well, because none of these people are libertarians. And the thing is what for me the litmus test on libertarian is: do you want to reduce the state? If you want to reduce the state, then you're on my team.
Yeah.
And you can have left-leaning ideas and you can have right-leaning ideas, but as long as you're into reducing the state, we're probably on the same team on a lot of things.
Fantastic. Now, have you ever been to Australia?
Yes, I have. So when I was getting married with my wife, early on, I don't know if it was our anniversary, our first anniversary or whatnot, but we went to Australia for about 3 weeks, and we started in Sydney, and we traveled all the way up the coast to Noosa. I surf. I live in Santa Cruz, California, which is a big surf area. And so I surfed Noosa Heads, and I surfed Byron Bay, and Coffs Harbour.
Yes.
Coffs Harbour was awesome. I would love to go back there. So we enjoyed ourselves. My wife is a big animal person, so we love seeing the wildlife in Australia all over just on the sides of the roads, and it was amazing. And this was probably 25 years ago, or maybe 30 years ago almost at this point. So I'm sure it's grown more since then, but driving down the Great Ocean Highway and seeing I don't know if it's the 7 apostles or the 12 apostles, and that was amazing looking at that. And I saw a bunch of the surf breaks, like Wiki Pops and stuff. It wasn't breaking when I was there, so I didn't get to surf it, but we just really enjoyed Australia's and having, I actually have family still in Australia. The Mapsteads still exist in Australia, so it feels like home there too.
Well, you'll have to come visit us down under. Maybe you'll come as the presidential nominee. We'll find out later today. Lars, thank you so much. It's an absolute bloody pleasure, and you're an absolute bloody legend.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. I'll be doing more interviews today, so I'll see you then.